Hi guys, so I thought I'd make this quick video, and basically I'm a sales guy, so I've been in sales, direct face-to-face cold sales for about 10 years, and now I'm kind of transitioning into doing online marketing, that kind of thing. So a lot of people, I feel like, will have this experience that I've had, essentially being a little bit mesmerized and a little bit kind of I don't know what the word would be, but when you start making your own videos, especially when it comes to editing, right? So here now I'm talking to the camera. That's not necessarily the kind of editing I'm talking about. So for me, I made content around stuff that other people found engaging and interesting. It wasn't necessarily related to what I was doing, okay? So I was doing Peaky Blinder edits, right? Just because it's a subject matter that people are interested in, I'm interested in, I like the show. And I thought, if I edit that, I've already got good material, and then I've got something to practice on, right? I wasn't making my own talk to the camera kind of videos at the time. So the original videos I made, honestly, they were absolute garbage, right? So I thought they were great in my head. I was like, wow, like, I can't even believe people don't want to watch this, right? Like, I should have like outrageous amounts of numbers, and they should be doing really well. And to be honest, it's kind of ironic that they did anything really, because they still got hundreds of views. I think maybe one of them might have got like 1,000 or something, I can't really remember, and they got like likes and engagement. People were engaging with them on TikTok and that kind of thing. But they were really, really bad, like really bad. Now that I look back on it, I overused the flashing effect, and it was just like, it'd probably be dangerous for some people if you've got if you're epileptic or something like that. But I'm going to talk about how I frame my sales pitch. So cold sales, if anyone doesn't know, it just means, you would know really if you've watched this long, probably, maybe not. It just means that you're selling something that someone hasn't registered any interest in whatsoever. So you have to introduce yourself. You have to, well, first you have to grab their attention, then you have to introduce yourself, then you have to introduce what you're doing, and then you have to somehow convey that there's a problem that needs to be solved, and this thing that you're selling, this thing that you're doing, is going to solve that person's problem, which is already difficult in and of itself, seeing as this is not something this person asked for, okay? You just jumped into their life, you've now got their attention, they're probably busy, they've got things to do. So on top of that, for myself, I was doing charity fundraising, right? Which, if anyone's ever done, I mean, it's probably the toughest sales job you can get. And I'm not just saying that to kind of like boost my own ego or anything. If there are tougher sales jobs that anyone's heard of, then obviously please let me know in the comments or whatever. I'd be enlightened, and I'm always open to learning and that kind of thing. But in terms of a sales job, I mean, unless you're selling windows and doors, they're probably the two toughest things you can do, I'd say. So this is typical kind of working class UK sales job that's available. A lot of people probably wouldn't take it because they probably think you're not really going to get paid a lot of money, maybe, and they are right in saying that. A lot of the managers, especially at the companies that pay you a salary, I was 100% commission for like 4 years, right, door to door. So I wasn't really concerned about that, as long as I saw it working, which I did immediately, because I just applied what I was taught, right? And when you're new in a place, when you're new to an industry, I assumed everyone basically knew everything, right? So I was kind of like, the people that were teaching me, I looked at them like they were like the Messiah or something, right? Like I was like, what? Like I believed every word they said, and I applied everything they said, and it worked. And I didn't even know how it was working. I was blown away. And a lot of the times, people will know this that have been in sales companies, the new guy or girl, they do really well a lot of the time. Like they either sink or swim kind of thing, right? Like, and I swam, right? Like I really did. I did not struggle at all. And again, not saying that to boost my own confidence. The time I did struggle was when I was brand new to street fundraising, which was standing in a city centre with no stand, no like sign or anything. You're just standing in the city centre of like a busy city with your like charity, like, I don't know what you'd call it, your uniform on, right? And an ID. That was it. You had to just flag people down, and people were just like, what? Like freaked out, right? That I did struggle with the first week. I didn't get a single sale. And bearing in mind, I was already very experienced, done very well in door-to-door, completely 100% commission and cold calling. But that was brutal. Like, that was like, I didn't even know how I was going to stop anyone. Like, it was outrageous. Okay. But managed to do that in the end. Became one of the best, if not the best, again. at times at least, not bragging. But I'm just a hard worker, right? Like if you give me something and I figure it out and it works, I will literally just squeeze the lemon so there's no juice kind of thing, you know, like so I just kept going with that basically. But yeah, so the way I frame my sales pitch is I need it to be probably inside of about 2 minutes, right? Like a minute to 2 minutes. The goals of my sales pitch is not just to sell what I'm selling. I need to find out if you can afford it, so I need to know if you're actually qualified to buy it. Now, with charity fundraising, it's different because obviously we're asking for like £10 a month or more, right? So when I originally started, it was like £8.50 a month or something like that. But it's not that anyone can afford it. A lot of people can afford it, right? So it's a little bit different. It's not like you're selling big things. I did sell cars for a very short amount of time. I probably got into it at the wrong time as well. I did like a month, maybe, yeah, I think it was about a month. Yeah, and it was a crazy environment and that kind of thing. People were doing like drugs and yeah, it wasn't good in the toilet. So I heard. I didn't see that for myself, but I was like, yeah, this is not the kind of place I want to be. But I managed to sell I sold 5 cars with a little bit of help from people because I didn't know how all the paperwork and everything worked. But the only thing that got me is we weren't really encouraged outreach. I was probably one of the guys, the manager there at the time. They had an actual manager and they had a manager under him. So whatever his title would have been, he told me I was the most active in the company in terms of calling people, because I literally just got their list of all their customers and just began calling to try and get people back in to see if they could get like an upgrade or something like that. And apparently no one else was doing that, so I was kind of scoffed at for that. But that was my background, right? I was just like, you need to do something. You can't just wait for customers to come in. That's crazy. You couldn't do that in the jobs I was in before. It was 100% commission. And then the ones that did pay you a wage, even though they're charity, right? These are sales agencies, so they're ruthless. Like anyone that couldn't get the job or anyone that couldn't do the job in the first week is usually let go. I was kept on because the manager that was working there saw potential in me, and you could tell I had a sales background, right? So I just genuinely had a bad week, right? I was like in a slump. But what got me out of that was, not out of that, but another time where I had another slump. What got me out of that was reading Grant Cardone's book. If anyone hasn't heard of Grant Cardone, he's a very colourful kind of American sales guy, and his stuff translates, at least for me. I read his book, Sell or Be Sold. Unbelievable. Like, did really well from that in terms of my sales. And I hadn't really been into reading books before that, I'll be honest with you, but just a phenomenal book. But a lot of the stuff that's taught online can be translated, as long as you're somehow, whether it's through watching the person's videos for a long time, try and figure out if they really are qualified to talk about what they're talking about. Grant Cardone's been around for decades, and obviously he's done really well. It'd be very, very hard to fake his lifestyle and that kind of thing, right? But so the way I would structure my pitch is basically, I need to know if you're somewhat on board already with what I'm saying. Okay, I'm not really trying to convince people of anything, because I don't want it to turn into a battle. And I mean, for example, with the cars, if you're not qualified to buy a car, I mean, you've just got a new car, it's just silly, right? It's not going to happen. With the charity thing, I'd more or less talk to them about the cause and then see their reaction. Okay, so if it was like a international charity, like UNICEF, for example, and the person was really against giving money overseas, some of the charities like Red Cross, they had the option to keep the money in the UK, so you could still kind of go there, right? Other people didn't mind at all, right? They give money overseas. Personally, I'm cool with that, like either way, right? Like as long as it's helping people, that was kind of more my focus, and it was my job, right? So it's kind of like, I'm not, you know, beggars can't be choosers kind of thing. So as long as it's helping people, I thought that was a good thing. And so it was more or less trying to find people that are roughly on the same page. So if you imagine someone's on the fence, I'm just trying to get them over the fence, right? I'm not trying to drag someone from one side of the fence to the other. I mean, I had done that at times. I would like fully debate people, and when I was new to like street fundraising, because I was just full of energy and I knew I had to do something to get this job and get the results and this and that, I would just go nuts basically. And I would almost like, I was still professional, but I would really in terms of the objections and stuff, and like people are, because I'm approaching them in the street, don't forget, right? So this is not like, even people at the comfort of their own home, they're just generally more comfortable, right? In the street, it's kind of like, whoa, like what's going on around me? And I can understand why you would not want to trust someone that's just literally wearing a jacket and an ID. Even though we're in city centre, there's loads of cameras, that kind of thing. But the structure of the pitch, essentially, is you're introducing yourself, you're introducing what you're doing. You need to ask some kind of question to start the conversation. So it would be something like, I would make a statement, let's say, for example, 2 million people, I can't remember all the stats, 2 million people have been affected by the war in Yemen. We're getting food over there, this, that and the other. How much do you think it costs to feed one person for one day? So it's not so much an open question, it's more like they have to give a specific answer to that. It's not a yes or no question. Do you care about this, yes or no? Most people are going to say no, right? Because obviously you've just brought it to their attention. Why would they care? If they already cared at the level you want them to care at, then they already would donate, right? It'd be a waste of time you being there. So then I would gauge kind of, I would get into a conversation with them and be like, look, like this is what's going on. What we're doing is we're asking people for a tiny amount of money out of their week for as long as they possibly can do it. And it's just going to help this many people. I'm sure you agree it's a good idea because you've already spoke to me and you look like you're on board. Yeah, of course, da 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 da. And charity fundraising is very light-hearted, right? And it's kind of weird because your income is kind of on the line, staying and you're getting paid like very low. Like you're lucky if you even crack like 20 grand or something in the UK, which is like, everyone will tell you they make $1 grand a week, and you hear a lot of that from the energy guys as well in the UK. And I do love them, I respect them, I don't mean anything disrespectful, but everyone's making $1 grand a week. Look, to make $1 grand a week standing up doing cold sales face to face, not over the phone, no leads, doing these kind of working class jobs is just unbelievable. People have done it, I've done it, but when someone says $1 grand a week, to me that means every single week, right? Not every now and again, maybe you hit it, a few times a year. That's not making $1 grand a week, right? But essentially you're hitting them with your introduction, finding out roughly if they're on the same page as you. The charities that we're advertising, they have big marketing plans anyway. You've already heard of them, right? It's not like we're doing charities no one's heard of. We did later on, which I'll get to maybe in another video. But essentially we're getting on the same page, and I want to be trusted, right? This is the biggest thing. So just wearing an ID is obviously not enough, but you want to talk to people kind of like you know them, right? Not in a, you don't want to go over the line as if you've been best buddies your whole life. But essentially, Andy Elliott, if you've heard of him, another sales guy from America, he said he just talks to people like he has known them like his whole life, right? Like it does work, like it really does. In terms of gauging trust, doesn't mean you're going to sell, but in terms of gauging trust, which no matter what you're selling, no matter how good it is, if the person doesn't trust you, you're not going to sell, because you need their bank details, right? They need to commit some kind of money. They need to know they're actually going to get it. They're not going to get ripped off, right? They're going to get the goods. So you've made your introduction, you figured out if you're roughly on the same page, whereabouts this person is. Are they on the fence? Are they on the other side of the fence? Again, if they're on board already, you wouldn't need to be there. And then you're going for the close. Like, it's really as simple as that. I have 3 steps. To me, that's 3 steps. Introduction, gauge where you're at. Maybe 4 steps, okay? Introduction, gauge where you're at. Are we on the same side, roughly, right? Do we understand each other? Then go for the close. That's it. You go to some places, they've got 7 steps, 5 steps. I never understood it, always complicated it for me. People always told me I was doing it wrong to some degree, not over the top all the time, but it worked. For me, if you get the results, I mean, how can that not work, right? I'm measuring my approach based off the results, not based off theory. So it worked for me. So yeah, so give yourself 3 or 4 steps, whether this is in-person sales or whether this is digital marketing, which I'm brand new to. I'm not going to claim to be the biggest expert in the world at, but, and I think I'm going to quickly get better at this. I have got a few clients at the moment that I'm doing digital marketing for that are doing good, doing okay, let's say. We're getting there. But it's making stuff just point blank, direct, not rude, but getting the pain points, right? So telling people about people are hungry in Yemen obviously wouldn't be my direct sales pitch, because people kind of already know that, right? And I would kind of relate it back towards them. you know. People kind of, again, it depends how easygoing the people are, right? I haven't been in it for a while, so I've been kind of, you know, doing this marketing thing. But pain points in terms of if you were selling a car, look, what's going on with your current car? And people may be saying, you know, it's old, it's got this going on, it clicks, it's, oh, okay, this, that, and the other. You need people to expose the pain points if you're selling a product like that, because that's the whole reason they want something new, right? Their pain point might just be, I want a new car, but you don't really need much training on that, right? If they just want it, they want it. Pain points are really important. We did a few causes that were very, a lot more touchy, to be honest. They had like cancer charities that were for, they were kind of like kids that needed to remain in education whilst they were going through chemotherapy and treatment, which was a bit, obviously, was brutal in that sense. But you didn't have to be as, you didn't have to ask as many questions. People kind of just got it, right? So that was, again, just to, are we on the same side? Do we kind of get each other based on, you know, what I'm explaining, kind of thing. People that are going through facts and figures, you need to pay attention to what the person's doing. You can kind of see just through like people's facial expressions and just their body language, like whether they're on board or not, kind of already. If the person's just like that, like cross-armed, they're just not interested at all, it's going to be very hard to pull someone like that over, unless you can get people that are like that and then they go, yeah, go on then. But that's extremely rare. The times I've had people just walk up to me and sign up because it's a charity in 10 years, maybe twice, maybe. And one of them, I kind of just saw him, he said he's going to come back, but I kind of went and just saw, because he was shopping and stuff like that. I wasn't following him, obviously, right? It's not like a weird thing like that. But I was just like, is he coming back? And he kind of saw me again, and I was like, hey, like, no one would come up to you and sign up, almost no one. So my advice also would be for people that are in a sales job or looking for a sales job, is kind of try and uncover the mythology a little bit, right, of the actual companies you're working for. Like, just say, like, I'm not trying to be funny or anything, I'm brand new here, I've never seen anyone in my life make $1,000 a week. If that is true, if you wanted to make way more than that and someone's saying $1,000 a week, you may say, I'm in the wrong place, right? If you've genuinely never seen anyone make anything like that, or you've never made anything like that, say, look, I'm just being honest, I'm brand new, I've never seen anyone make anything like that. Is it okay if I actually see, like, that you've made that? If you've got like a pay slip or anything like that, I could see that on. And if they've got nothing to hide, they should show you, right? But I mean, they can't, unless they're showing that they've been paid that every week for a year or something, or 6 months at least. You're not making $1,000 a week, or even a few months. Like, I'd even take like 2 or 3 months, right? Like, it should be consistent, it should be there, right? So a lot of these things are mythologies, as you know, especially in the UK. I'm not going to make it that kind of a video, but I mean, obviously Britain is smaller than America, right? So everything's probably exaggerated, but it's more confined to like one person, right? I'm not going to go off on that anyway, but yeah, it's more just, you know, it's just got to have structure. Like, you have to have structure in your sales pitches. The amount of people when they're put under fire, meaning they have someone that could actually buy from them, and they just freeze up, and all it shows is you're just not practicing your pitch. Like, you're just not practicing. There's no way. There's a limited amount of objections anyone can give you for any given product. There just is. It's price. Don't want to give you my bank details. If you're in that kind of situation where people don't trust you to give their bank details, like we were knocking on doors and doing street fundraising in city centres, that can happen a lot. I don't believe in the cause. If it's a charity, I don't believe all the money gets there. I don't believe, you know, it probably all goes to admin or this or that. Like, you write down all of these objections, right, when you're at home, when you're outside of work, or when you're on your break, and actually write down responses to them. And the reason you do this, I know you probably think, well, I already know the response, but really test yourself. Like, write them down. Write down the objections, then write down the responses, and see how structured your responses actually are. Because it's not that you're going to tell the person something they don't know necessarily. It's how prepared you are shows confidence, which builds trust. Life is uncertain in general, right? Salespeople need to bring certainty to people's life, and that's kind of just how sales works, I think, in general. You're basically bringing certainty into people's lives. That's what a good salesperson should do. People get certainty from all kinds of things. You should check out Tony Robbins. I think he's like a motivational speaker. He does much more than that, but it's the easiest way to summarize him. Business guy really as well. I think it's 7 human needs he talks about, but one of them being certainty, meaning human beings will do anything for certainty, and a need being something that you don't want or desire but you need, right? You will always find a way to find certainty, right? People do it through drugs, people do it through working out, people do it through positive, healthy or negative ways. But essentially just making someone feel certain, a lot of the time they will kind of just appreciate the fact that you're around them. Doesn't mean necessarily they're going to buy from you, but it's a good thing to have your sales pitch structured and prepared and just practice it. Like, so many people just don't practice their pitch. Like, it's kind of, I don't really know what they expect to happen, but it's not going to be good. You may feel good and you may go, the first 1 or 2 pitches may go well, or maybe not, maybe just dive straight away, right? But yeah, definitely practice your pitch 100%. Yeah, hopefully you got something from that. Let me know in the comments what your experience has been, if you're in sales, if you're in marketing, if the video's helped you or anything. That would be cool. I'm posting my school link in the description below. So at the minute I think it's going to be £10 a month for exclusive content, which is going to be really in-depth sales and marketing advice moving forward. So done sales for 10 years, cold sales, different industries, mostly charity fundraising, but done different industries, done business to business, door to door, street fundraising, venues, events, that kind of thing. But moving forward it will be a lot more on the marketing side of things, because ultimately, guys, that's kind of where the world's heading, right? Everyone knows about this YouTube thing, social media thing. It's really just building like some kind of an audience or presence, right? You can sell to one person one at a time, or you can try and sell to thousands, if not millions of people, right? So that's really what it's about, I think, moving forward. But yeah, appreciate you watching. If you can, let me know in the comments some of your experiences in sales or marketing moving forward. If you want to connect, like I say, with myself, I'll be on school, but posting stuff on there for free as well. It's not all going to be paid, I don't think. But essentially it's, you know, it's going to be like £10 a month at the moment for regular in-depth content on sales and marketing, which to me, they're not the same thing obviously, but they're kind of part of the same family, right? Like, the skills should translate if you've become good at sales. But my advice would be, if you can, just jump straight into marketing, but learn sales. You still will need sales skills within marketing in terms of how you're structuring your ads. Anything you do, it needs to be structured like a sale. And again, the structure just needs to be like, boom, like grabbing the person's attention. What is it you're doing? What is it you're selling? Almost anything can work, right? So it's about refining the process, like getting it down where it's as short as possible. It doesn't always have to be super short. You do want to get the person's attention. So if you're going 100 miles an hour just to make your pitch quick, that's not going to get you'll get attention, but you get attention for the wrong reasons. People will just be flustered, right? And if you fluster people, then obviously they're not going to know what to do, and they'll just say no, basically, just default to no. So yeah, again, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Look forward to making another one. And yeah, follow along, subscribe, and enjoy it, and try and get the value out of it. But ask yourself the questions, like I said about writing your objections down. Like, what would you say, right? Like, what would you say? Someone came up to you with your sales pitch, would you be impressed? Would you buy? You have to be brutally honest with yourself. So I'm not talking about giving yourself a hard time all the time, but you know, some of the most competitive, successful people are pretty hard on themselves. I know I was definitely driven to get my sales pitch, as tight as it could possibly be, particularly towards the end of my career, because in terms of my sales career, I'm only 29, right? I'm barely getting started, but in terms of what I have been doing, and I will be doing a lot more sales and stuff like that, I'd imagine, moving forward. I'm certainly not above it. But yeah, get your pitch tight, get it written down, go over it again and again and again. Even if you are naturally good at these things, like even if you feel like I just off the cuff, and I don't know if anyone really does that. I mean, I pretty much always practiced it, like, but But I was always in sales organizations that would make you practice your pitch as well, which is good. So definitely practice it, but practice it outside hours as well. Like, this is your future at the end of the day, right? This is not you just making money for some people you're working for. That shouldn't really even be in your head. Like, it's good, obviously, make money for people, that's great, but you need to be, you're only going to last in this if you feel like you're actually going to get something out of it, right? Sales and marketing. So make sure you find a good deal, meaning a good place to work at. If not, then obviously you're going to have to look for doing your own thing at some point, which is a lot of where the world's heading in general. Less of a taboo subject now to be an entrepreneur or be self-employed, with the way the economy is, the world is, jobs, security, that kind of thing. But yeah, wish you all the best, and yeah, I hope you enjoy the following up content. Like I say, have a look at my school, it'll be in the description. Alex Hormozi's been promoting school, very interesting app, getting paid for people following you, watching your content, and it's specific as well, right? Like, where else can you really get specific content unless you just come across an influencer on Instagram? But they want thousands and thousands of pounds for a course, which is fine, but I mean, if you just want to get real value from something, it doesn't cost the world. It's a good idea to get on school. There's courses from like £10 to like £100 that I've seen. And these guys, there's one talking about AI, automation, that kind of thing. Like, very, very relevant in today's age. And just, it's impossible to learn everything about it. There's just no way. There's always more to learn. So check my stuff out for sales and marketing, and have a look at some other skills you can get that people will actually value, because no matter what you're doing, you will need to sell it. But it helps if you have a skill that's solid as well, but you will need to sell it. People have to sell the idea of 24 karat gold, right? Like, if no one spoke about it, you wouldn't know it's worth anything. You wouldn't know it exists. People have to shout about things. Nothing. Someone said to me recently, this business promotes itself, or it markets itself. I mean, it's impossible, right? There's nothing on the earth that markets itself. Nothing. It takes human beings to talk about it and get the word out there, and that's what you need to do if you're a salesperson or if you're a business person. So, okay guys, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Wish you all the best in whatever you're doing. Follow along and see the next video. Have a good one.